I'm Pixelboy. I'm a 44-year-old generative artist from Liverpool, England. I have a wife and 2 children, 2 boys, and I enjoy sports. So I enjoy playing soccer or football, and I also enjoy music. So I enjoy listening to music and also playing the guitar. But primarily, I'm a generative artist. That's what I do full time now. And I also enjoy learning about the subject and collecting art as well. I suppose coming from an artistic family, I've always had a kind of drive to create art. So my mother was a primary school teacher, but also a sort of traditional artist. So she would make art, and we'd have art all around the house. My sister is an art teacher, so she's always been very involved in that side of things. And as children, we used to go to art galleries and museums. So I was really surrounded by those types of things, studying art and also architecture informally, but from a young age. I've been making art on computers for years, so since I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. And then a little bit older, I got Deluxe Paint 3 for the Amiga. So I'd start to make graphics on there, pixel art, and play around with what can be done. And it's that interest, I suppose, that I've got from retro computers that I've brought through into my art. I was having a chat just before lockdown with a group of friends of mine who met up with school friends. We don't meet up very often. And we were sort of talking about how our lives have moved on. And it came about a subject really about what do we sort of plan to do with our futures, I suppose. And one thing that cropped up was this subject of legacy and leaving a legacy behind, leaving some sort of thing that people remember you by. And I thought, well, you know, I'm in a job at the moment where it's a sort of day-to-day job and I come home and it's over. But it was really important for me to leave behind some sort of legacy, so either some piece of art, whether it be digital or traditional, or to leave behind some sort of piece of music. So really sort of, I suppose that's what drove me to create art. I've got a sort of a passion for leaving, for creating art and leaving it behind. So yeah, so the first piece of art that I made, it was listed on Hiket Nunk. So I kind of learnt about some of these platforms that were existing about 18 months ago, and had the opportunity. My family were away on holiday, and I was working. I had a full-time job at the time, but I had the opportunity while they were away for a week to spend the evenings making art. So I decided to make a piece using a piece of software called Pico8. So for those that don't know, Pico8 is a piece of software where you're very limited. You've got 128 across by 128 down, so 128 times 128 pixels to play with. There's 16 colours in the palette, so it's very limited in some ways in what you can do. But what I realised is you can make some very nice animated pieces within. So that's the first piece that I made was a rippling effect, an effect of rippling water using the Pico8, and I listed that on Hiket Nunk. I've been making art a long time before that. So as a child, once I got my first computer, I was just obsessed with the graphics of it and how you can make pixel art. So I'd have friends come around to play, but all I really wanted to do was to be making art. So we'd be playing games, and I'd be looking at how the pixel art works, how the graphics works, how the sound was working, and really thinking what's behind the scenes rather than being fully immersed in the game itself. So the most recent piece that I've made is listed on FXHash. So for long form generative art, that's what I've traditionally been using, so minting on Tezos. The project is Mystic Rune Maker, and basically what it does, it uses a series of random walkers in a grid system, multicoloured random walkers as dots, and they go and generate patterns within their grid. We get some really nice outputs from there. I got very involved with FXHash at the very beginning, so I actually made project 100 on FXHash a year ago now, and so that was sort of the second week that FXHash existed. So I made project 100, and then I think perhaps my second or third project after that was a project called Rune Maker, where again you have these walkers. So it's a kind of reversioning of that with improved graphics and using a dot system and a grid system. So I probably made maybe 30 projects on FXHash now. I was there from the very beginning, second week it existed. Actually, I looked at the time that I created my first piece, and at the time one of the most expensive projects on there now, RGBs, was still mintable for free. So while I was generating my work, I could have just been minting RGBs for free. But you got to say it's brought me on the journey that I've come from. So if you sort of took a look at my journey on FXHash from my first project to where I am now, I think there's a very visible story of improvement of my art. So I think you'd be able to see that. So I think having an artistic family has definitely helped. Obviously getting to go and see lots of art in galleries and understanding the value of art and the meaning behind some pieces of art from an early age has definitely helped. I come from a very stable family, so a very close family with a mum and dad and a brother and a sister, so one of everything. And so yeah, that kind of being in a stable family was great. We did have, as part of my dad's job, he did move around a lot, so always in the UK, but I would move around maybe every 2 years or so. I went to 5 different primary schools, so I learned from a young age to be able to be resilient, to go and join a new class and get to know people very quickly and integrate very quickly. So that's shaped me really in the way that I have an ability to be adaptable. So for example, it helped me when I went to university at age 18 to just be comfortable in new surroundings. It also ultimately allowed me the chance to go traveling straight after university. I just felt that I was perfectly comfortable in different cultures and in being integrated really into completely unknown places. And I think that's helped me grow up as an adult as well. Ultimately, it led me into a career for 20 years or so in sales and marketing. So able to be put in a room and get to chat to people who I don't know and talk about products and IT services, that basically essentially what I used to work in, and I think it helps me now as well, perhaps on the sort of marketing side, I suppose, of being NFTs, using Twitter and whichever else social media tools we're using now. So it's been great to have a number of pieces shown in exhibitions. The most recent one was exhibited in Germany, and there was another one exhibited in Frankfurt. One that I went to visit in the sort of summer of this year was NFT Liverpool. So that was a large project. I think there was about 20 different curators there, and 2 separate curators chose 2 separate pieces of my work. I sort of put 2 entries in and both were accepted. The first was accepted by Paris Hilton. I think she particularly liked the sort of the neon colours. When you walked around the show, there was really a feeling of those traditional colours that Paris Hilton is known for, so the pinks and the neon colours. But it was really great to see my piece on screen there. So a piece that I've got listed on Foundation. The other piece that was chosen was by Kate Vass. So Kate Vass is owner of a gallery, I believe, in Germany, and she was one of the curators as well. She chose one of my pieces, which is a kind of a take on Vera Molnar's work. So again, really sort of proud to have those pieces listed. Haven't been to see all of my other pieces in exhibition. I've had things listed in America and also in Germany and Frankfurt. But I'm hoping I've got an exhibition that's coming up in, I believe, sort of May of next year. So I'm hoping to get over to Europe to see that in place. And always sort of looking for other opportunities where I can see work to be displayed publicly. So I'll continue to do that. Well, it's hard to choose a greatest failure because I've had so many. But I genuinely believe that we learn from our mistakes and that every failure builds us as a person. So in a lot of ways, I don't really believe in failure. As long as you're able to dust yourself back up and go again, then I really don't see failure as an issue at all. Yeah, sure, I wish I'd invested in Bitcoin in 2007. And there's quite a few NFTs that I have bought that I've sold that I wish I hadn't. I wish I'd kept hold of. But that's just financial. But in terms of failure itself, I really don't see it as a major issue. Maybe I have released a bit too much art at times. Maybe I've changed styles a little bit too much. But I'm on a journey and I'm evolving as an artist, and I'm still sort of finding exactly the types of pieces that I want to make. That I've improved massively in the quality, so I'm not overly worried about that. I do talk to quite a lot of generative artists regularly. We kind of discuss each other's art and the direction that we're going in, and we're very good at critiquing each other's work politely. But I do talk to quite a few artists who have become very defined in a style, and they're starting to become quite frustrated because they're only known for one style of art, and they've got to find a new level or a new angle. And so they're finding sort of creative block, a number of people like that. I won't name any names, but there's quite a few that I'm talking to, and a few who are looking at possibly using a second identity to still be able to use that creative side of things and go and create a completely different style, perhaps where they're not known for. But I don't feel really failure-wise there's any mistake you can ever make, whether this is in real life or in generative art. I don't feel there's any mistake you can ever make that is insurmountable. I think my life advice would be go out there and do things that scare you. Don't be afraid to go out and do things that you really want to achieve. A lot of times people will be held back by a feeling perhaps of fear or whatever, and not really be the best version of themselves that they can be. But yeah, so my advice would be, if there's something that's inside you that you really want to go and do, and it's legal to do so, then just go out and do it. You know, fear is one of those things that can sort of consume you and you can never overcome. So yeah, give it a go, and perhaps if you were wrong and it goes and it doesn't work, then at least you were right to fear it in the first place. But you'll never know if you don't give it a try. So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is it's far better to regret something you've done than something that you haven't done.